So we are live, great. Fantastic, that's working. Good. So yeah, just before we get started, welcome to those of you joining class tonight. Welcome back to any of you that came on last week. It's lovely to have you back if you are. And if you are viewing after this on YouTube, we'll have the videos up there for the next few weeks. So if you want to practice this again, then you can go ahead and log on to our YouTube account so that you can practice again. And the one from last week again is also up there. So if you want to practice from week to week, then go ahead and look at that. So I'll just introduce myself again for those of you that don't know me. I am Leah. I am one of the co-founders of the Birth Collective, and I am an obstetric doctor, and I am also a pregnancy yoga teacher. So we wanted to include this as part of the Birth Collective because we feel that yoga is a really valuable tool that you can use in your pregnancy, and it's really great to be able to offer that here. Oh, I'm just getting an error message then coming up, so. Okay. So the YouTube, I think, is still going. So sorry, a bit of a technical hitch. I don't know what's happening there, but so yeah, so just to touch base for those of you that haven't practiced with me before or are new to yoga, as always, just listen to your body. So I obviously can't see you and what your body position's in, and if something doesn't feel right for you, if it feels painful or uncomfortable in any way, then please stop. I will give modifications through the practice, so do listen out for those. And you know, we're all very prone to pushing ourselves and challenging ourselves, and that's great if something feels good, but if it doesn't feel good, listen to your body and just be kind to yourself, and practice within your own limits so that you're not hurting or injuring yourself. I won't be doing a Q&A here because obviously it's a yoga class and it's a bit tricky to do that within the hour. I want to give you the full hour of our class. But if you want to ask questions, then you can head over to our YouTube. As I said, it will be up there for the next few weeks. So if you want to ask a question on there, then pop it under the video and I will answer those as best I can over the next week. So what you're going to need for class today, as always, you don't need precise yoga props. I'm going to be using a yoga block. So instead of that, you might want to have a big book handy, like a big heavy book, or a cushion. I would definitely say have one, if possible, 2 cushions, just to give you a little bit of height there. And if you happen to have a pregnancy yoga pillow or even a yoga bolster, that's even better, then grab hold of that. If you haven't got either of those things, that's absolutely fine. A rolled up blanket or a towel to make a sausage, maybe a couple of blankets together would be fine as well. So if you can grab hold of that, then go ahead, but don't stress too much if you haven't got those things available. We can modify. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm gonna pop things and get everything set up. So we're going to start actually in seated today. So I know we were in a lovely lying down position last week, but if you want to come to a seated position, now this can either be kneeling or cross-legged. We're going to be here for a good 5 minutes, so I would recommend making sure that you're comfortable. So I often, if you have got the like a sausagey kind of cushion, then that's perfect because you can kneel on that. Another thing to make it a bit more comfortable is to pop your book or your block underneath that cushion at one end, so it's kind of at a little angle, and then you can just straddle that. If you haven't got any of these props and this is really not working with your blanket or your yoga cushion, then what I would do is sit cross-legged. So you can sit cross-legged or any position really that feels comfortable for you. Maybe bring your cushions underneath your bottom so you're elevating your hips, and that should be a lot more comfortable for you. So wherever you are, just find that comfy seated position for yourself. So take a moment, I'll give you a moment or two just to get comfy and seated. Put my hair up at the same time. And once you're in that seated position, just take a moment to settle into your practice. So by this, what I mean is just try and allow the mind to become still. You might have been rushing around today, you might not have, you might be distracted. And just taking a moment to allow all of that just to ease into the periphery. And taking a big inhale through the nose. And sighing out through the mouth. Maybe closing down the eyes now. Inhaling deeply through the nose and sighing out through the mouth. And with that exhale, just feel that softening of the body, that activation of the parasympathetic nervous system as you inhale one last time. The deepest breath you've taken all day, and then just sighing out. Allow the breath just to come to a natural, gentle rhythm. Breathing in and out through the nose. The eyes closed now. Either placing your hands on your knee, on your baby, maybe resting them just in your lap with your dominant hand underneath your less dominant. As the breath stills, starting to become aware of the sensations in the body. So beginning to scan down from the crown of the head and checking in with sensations in the body. So just starting to notice what the physical feelings are. It may not be anything particularly noticeable. Maybe it just feels nice and soft. But as you start to move down through your head, maybe notice, are you clenching your jaw? Moving into the neck, maybe an area of tightness in the shoulders. And trying to avoid the urge to attach those physical sensations to a story, a winding little path of thoughts that we are gently carried down often. It's funny how the mind can draw us into these little rabbit holes. So seeing if you can just stay in that interested, detached sense of noticing as you move down into the arms, into the hands, shifting back into the trunk of the body, into the chest, moving round into the upper back, and gliding that scanning focus down through the middle back, the upper back, into the lower back. Noticing sensations. Just gently becoming aware of what's happening in your body. And then starting to guide the focus around to the front once again, and tuning into your baby. So finding this moment to connect in with your baby. Again, noticing those physical sensations, maybe if this is early in your pregnancy, there's a gentle feeling of fullness, of stretching. Maybe that's a lot fuller if you're further on in your pregnancy. Feelings of movements, of aches. And just embracing those sensations. Notification of your baby growing inside of you. And we're going to use this moment as we connect in with our baby to just set an intention for your practice today. So this is a thing that you might need a little bit more of in your life right now. You don't have to think too deeply about this, just without getting too cerebral about it, checking in with what your body feels that it might need, what your soul might need a little more of right now. And if nothing springs to mind, just going to go this week with the collective intention of acceptance. And that can be a really tricky thing with the climate we're in right now. We feel that we have little control over what's going on in our day-to-day lives. And so we just see if we can practice that art of acceptance, knowing that these things will go on, whether we stress or ignore or whatever we choose to do to react. And so just accepting them for what they are and being in the moment. And trying to carry that through into our practice this evening. Just pausing with that, holding that. And then moving down into the legs, into the thighs, into the bum, into the hamstrings. Just going down into the lower legs, into the feet. And just bringing the breath back into focus again. Noticing the gentle rise and fall of the chest as you breathe in and out through the nose. Noticing the expansion, the opening as you follow the breath on the inhale into the lungs. That lifting, energizing, and then the exhale brings that softening, gentle release as you breathe out. Just taking 3 breaths, following each breath, not controlling it. Seeing if you can follow the path as it draws in through the nose and into the lungs. And then noticing the sensations in the body as you follow the breath out. Taking another one here. Following that breath in. And then following the path as it softens through the body on the exhale. And taking one more gentle noticing of your breath. I'm just going to come in now to golden thread breath, which is a really useful tool to use at any point in pregnancy and especially in the early stages of labour. So we're going to breathe in on this breath through the nose. And we're going to breathe out through the mouth. And as we breathe out through the mouth, we create a really tiny, paper-thin, gentle parting between the teeth and the lips, as if a thin golden thread now is passing out of the mouth. You're going to focus in on that golden thread. So taking a breath in through the nose, holding it just to pause, and then as you exhale, really gently and evenly allow that breath to softly pass through that gentle parting in the lips and the teeth. Imagining now a golden thread just dancing on the breeze of your breath. And taking another breath in through the nose. And exhaling through that parting, following the breath, following that golden thread as it floats out of the mouth into the distance. And taking 3 more breaths like this. And as you exhale, allow that breath to really gently, softly come out. Finding the breath that lasts the whole way rather than forcing it and then needing to strain at the end. It's just a really soft release. Taking 2 more now, inhaling through the nose. Finding that parting in the mouth and allowing the breath to gently soften in front of you, carrying the golden thread. Visualizing it maybe moving a little further away. Taking 1 last inhale here. And then finding that long exhale, softening through the lips. Carrying that golden shining thread far, far into the distance, lengthening out in front of you. Really nice. And then just taking an inhale, we're going to sweep our arms up overhead. And as we exhale through the mouth, pushing the air down in front of us. And just take one more here. Stretching through the side ribs into the shoulders, exhaling. And maybe fluttering the eyes open if they're not already there. And then gently rocking to your side. So moving any props away here. If you want to have a cushion or a blanket underneath you, you can. If you've been seated on your bottom for a little while, maybe wiggle your legs out and give them a bit of a life here. We're going to come to another seated pose. So we're going to come here. I'm going to be mirroring you, so just listen to the legs that I use, and if you want to mirror me, then go ahead and do that. If you want to take a cushion or a small block underneath your bottom, you don't want to be up too high for this. It's just to give you a little lift out of your hips. So you're going to bring your left foot in front of your right. And just come into a nice boxy squat here. So try and find the shins parallel to each other. And then from here, we're going to take another big inhale, stretching up tall. Exhaling, coming down. And we're going to walk the left hand to the side. Exhaling, walking the right hand to the side. And take another one each side. Finding a pause for the whole breath now. Inhaling. Now reaching the right arm up over the head to the side. And then inhaling, coming back over to the opposite side. Exhaling, stretching the left arm over to the side. And then taking one last one here. Reaching the right hand overhead, and we're just going to pause here for a moment. So see if you can draw that right shoulder away from the ear. Maybe sink down a little bit more into that forearm. See if you can find a stretch through the side ribs here. So if you notice that right hip and bum is starting to lift off the floor, then just come a little bit further up. You don't want to be sinking and collapsing too much over this way. And then start to rotate the body to look up at that top hand. Again, noticing is the shoulder clenched here towards the neck, is the jaw tight, and seeing if you can relax and soften that. So we're creating a lovely opening through the right side of the body. And taking one more breath here. And then from here, we're going to look down towards our palm and stretch the arm out towards the side of the room. So that right arm stretching side, palm is facing down, and your hand is about 1.5 feet off the floor. Draw the chin towards your left shoulder so that there's a nice stretch through the right side of your neck. And then from here, pushing into the hand, we're going to hook that right arm to the side behind our back. So I'm bringing that hand over towards the left hip, and then I'm going to draw the left hand into my rib cage. So I'm interlacing and squeezing my hands in a fist here to the side of the hip. Zip in that left elbow towards the body, and then you're just going to tilt your head over to the left side, so finding that stretch through the right neck. Sit up nice and tall here, so ground down with both sit bones towards the floor. And taking one more breath here, breathing and expanding through the chest. Exhaling, softening through the body. Allowing that tension maybe to release out of the neck. Releasing the grip on the hands. And then from here, we're going to bring that left foot towards the side. So we're going to bend the knee and place the knee in towards the foot. And then you're going to place the top of the left foot so it's facing flat down. So the top of the foot is pressing into the floor and the sole of the foot is pointing up. And then bring the left hand to the hip. The right hand is 1/2 inch or so behind your hip. And then you're going to put 1/2 foot, behind your hip. And then you're going to push into the top of the foot. And we're talking really minimal movements here. So push into the top of the foot and just notice a teeny little lift into that bum cheek, into the hip. Push into the foot again. Notice a micro lift. We're just activating the smaller muscles of the bum here, the gluteus minimus muscle. We'll take 2 more here. One last one. And then from here, we're going to start to extend this. We're going to take another inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, we're going to rotate over to the left side, coming into a seated twist for a moment. Take another inhale, lift up. Exhale, placing the right hand a foot behind you and take a big sweep now. Push into the hips, push into the bum as you lift off. Exhaling, bump down to the floor. Inhaling, sweeping up. Exhaling, rotating round. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling back into your lift here, opening up through the chest. This is a sort of variation of one thing you can do while pregnant. Taking another inhale, sweeping up. Exhaling, rotating around, and we're just going to hold and pause here for a moment in this twist. As you use your back hand as a kickstand here, push into the fingertips, tent the hand, lift up out of the hips, open through the chest, and avoid the urge to really overly extend with the head here. So see if you can keep the chin over the chest and rotate with the chest, rotate with the upper spine here. Puff up your chest as you inhale, and exhale, just turn a teeny little bit further. Really nice. And then releasing that twist, coming back into your modified wild thing as you push into the hand, lift up to the hip, and just hold here for a breath. Reach with the fingertips of that left arm back to the wall behind you. And then exhaling, releasing down. Really nice. Bringing your feet together now. So coming to cobbler's pose just for a moment. Pushing into the soles of the feet and bringing your heels as close as you are able to, but you don't need to overstretch here. We're just warming up. So just working with your body and not overstretching here. If you've got pelvic girdle issues, this may be too much for you. So just bringing your legs a little bit closer together. So lifting your knees off the floor. And then we're just going to round forward. If your knees are up, you can just round towards your knees as much as your baby and bump allow you to. Allow your elbows, if they're there, to rest onto your thighs or your shins. And we're not forcing this forward fold. It's a really gentle, soft stretch. And then gently coming back up. So coming into the opposite side now. So we're going to bring the right foot in front, left leg up, tucks behind. And we're going to come into stretches on the opposite side. So sit nice and tall, find that boxy seated position here. So you're flexing through both feet, sitting up tall. Sweeping the hand over towards the right side this time. And then coming over towards the left. And taking two more like this. Reaching up with the arm, opening through the side ribs. Starting to work through and wake up the side body into the spine. And then last one here, we're going to hold. So pushing into the hand, lifting up with that extended arm, being cautious of not hunching your shoulder to your ear now. And then reach with the hand. And push into that supporting arm. Maybe bend the elbow a little here. Noticing, is your left hip coming off the block or the mat or your cushion, whatever you have here. If it is, then just coming up a little higher here. Rotating the chest towards the hand, opening through the chest, finding that lift and expansion through the side ribs. And taking one more breath. Really nice. And then gaze is down towards the supporting hand. And then you're going to reach that left arm over to the side of the mat. And dropping your head down so you're looking at your fingertips. And so there's a nice stretch here through the neck. Breathing here, always finding that reconnection with your breath. And then pushing your way up. You're going to hook this hand this time, so bringing the left hand behind your back. We'll go over towards the waist, and then taking the other hand, so taking your right hand and making a fist here. Zip that elbow in towards the body, and then you're just going to tilt your head over towards the right side this time. So find a stretch and an opening through the left side of the neck. Maybe shut down the eyes here for a moment, just pausing and breathing into this. And taking one more breath. Nice. And then just gently releasing. Releasing the hands and coming into your seated swan pose on the opposite side. So hooking the right leg this time, so bending the right knee and placing the left foot on the right knee. And coming into your little micro lifts here, so hand to the hip and bring the left hand as a sort of kickstand supporting you to the side. Push into the top of the foot. Remember, the sole of the foot is facing up. And as you push into the foot, you find that little micro lift. I'm just going to do a few more here. So just engaging the glute minimus muscles. And taking 3 more. This is not a big, strong move here. We're just, as soon as you start to twist and move a little bit more, then the bigger muscles kind of come into activation. You lose the benefit of this pose. The last one here. Really nice. And then we're going to take a big inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, rotate into your seated twist over towards the right side. Inhaling. Exhaling, bringing the left hand about a foot behind you this time, pushing into the shins, engaging the bums and lifting up towards your modified wild thing. Coming down. Inhaling, sweeping up. Exhaling, rotating into your seated twist. Inhaling, lifting the arms up overhead. Exhaling, bringing that hand behind you, kickstanding as you lift up into that lovely opening back bend. Exhaling, coming down. One last one here. Inhaling, rotating over towards the right side and coming to a pause here as we come into this seated twist. So using that back hand as a kickstand to lift you up, trying to keep the chin over the chest. And then your hand is just placed on the thigh here as a stabilizer. Lift it out of the hips as you inhale, and then a really gentle rotation over towards the right side. Taking one more breath here. And exhaling. Breathe into the twist a little more. And releasing on the next inhale. Really gently and with care, moving over to the opposite side. As we come into this wild thing, we're just going to pause in this now. So pushing into that supporting hand, lifting through the hips, reaching with the arm and opening through the chest. And taking one more breath here. And exhaling, releasing down. Really nice. So we're just going to come now into all fours. So if you've got quite a hard floor or a thin mat, then you might want to have a blanket just underneath your knees. So go ahead and place that if that's something that you like, just for a bit of extra cushioning. I've got 2 mats, so I won't be using that for now. Just going to move that bolster out of the way for a moment. So you're going to come into your cat-cow. So coming into your tabletop to begin with, have your block nearby because we're going to use that in a little while. So just place your block or your book, or if you haven't got either of those things, a cushion is fine. So just something that's going to give you a bit of support off the ground. We're going to come into our cat-cows. So placing the hands directly underneath the shoulders, so wrists under shoulders, and draw the shoulders away now from the ears. Hug your baby into your spine. The feet are hip width apart so that you've got this parallel leg position. And then you're just going to come into your inhale. As you do so, glide the chest forward and drop your belly down towards the mat. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under, round through the spine, one vertebra at a time as you drop your head and puff up the chest at the back. Inhaling, chest draws down and up and opening up through to the front of the mat. Exhaling, tailbone rounds down towards the floor and push into the hand, drop the head. Last one here, inhaling. Move with the length of the breath here, so we're not fast forwarding these movements in any way. We're just moving really gradually, making them last for the whole of the breath. Coming to your neutral spine, your tabletop position again. Hug your baby in if it's not already there. And we're going to come into some barrel rolls. So coming into that same cat position, so doming up through the back of the back and then dropping the head. We're going to shift the chest over to the right hand side and then dropping the chest down towards the mat. So you're coming into like a circle movement with your chest as you shift towards the left
and then doming up through the back into that cat position, taking another one here. So if you imagine there's a big barrel around your chest and you're cleaning out the barrel with the whole of your body here, so you're creating these big circles with your rib cage, shifting the chest to the right, down, and then over to the left. Last one here, we're going to come into the opposite direction, pushing into the hands, spreading the fingertips really wide here, dropping the chest down, shifting over to the right side now. Push, puffing up with the back of the chest, and then dropping down towards the mat. And taking one more here. Nice big circle. And coming all the way down towards the floor with your chest, and then coming back to your puffed up cat position, and then back to your neutral spine. Really nice. So just check in with yourself, make sure that the legs are parallel, the shins are parallel here, the knees are parallel. And then we're going to come into antenatal, so open heart pose here. This is a really nice one for the shoulders. We're working through the neck and the shoulders a lot tonight. So you're going to start to walk your hand down towards the front of the mat. And so start to walk them out. And then the idea here is to allow the chest to drop so that your bum is directly over the knees here. So this isn't a child's pose where the bum is back, or a push-up position where the chest is forward. So check in with your bum, your hips, making sure they're over the knees, and then just start to walk the body down. So you may just get to this point where your forearms or your hands are on the mat and you're just stretching through the front of the chest. You may have a little bit more space or flexibility there, but again, listening to what your body is doing for you tonight. If you do and you would like to, then maybe dropping your chest down towards the floor, either tucking the head in so forehead is coming to mat, or if you want to extend a little bit more and you haven't got any neck issues, then just gliding your chin forward so you're gazing towards the end of the mat. And this is a strong one, so this is a really strong one to open up through the chest, into the shoulders. And just taking 2 more breaths here. Breathing deeply, so finding that acceptance in your limits and what works for you today. Knowing where you are and being kind to yourself. And then gently starting to walk your way back up. So coming back into your tabletop. So we're just going to make sure that that block or book is nearby. So just bringing it to the right side of your mat. And spreading the fingers nice and wide, tucking the toes. We're going to come into our first downward facing dog. So bring the bum back towards the heels. And then you're going to make sure your hands are nice and wide. You're in this kind of spread starfish with your fingertips here. And the index and middle finger is towards the end of the mat. As you shift the weight back into the toes, you're going to start to push into them and lift the bum really high. So you want to make sure, we mentioned it last week, if you weren't here to this class, then keep your legs are hip width, feet are hip width apart or wider, and keep a really strong bend in the knees to begin with. So you're going to shift your bum all the way back, so you're almost feeling like you're sitting down on your heels here. And then you can start to push through your toes, engage through your pelvic floor and lift up. Now bend through the right knee, left heel softens down towards the mat. And then take another inhale and exhaling coming onto the other side. So left knee bends, right knee softens down. Taking one more on either side like that. So just pedaling the feet here and starting to stretch and wake up through the hamstrings. And taking another one now, left knee bends, right leg straight. Really nice. From here, kicking up the right leg, so no higher than hip height to start with. And then you're just going to step the right foot behind the right wrist. And dropping the left knee on the mat. This is where your blanket might come in handy if you have one. And then we're going to bring the hand down and come into a nice open twist. So the block or whatever that is there to support you is on the outside edge of your right foot. Push into that block and come into a nice open twist here. So opening up, lifting with the arm. If this is too much and this is too intense and you've got pelvic girdle issues, then just coming and resting your elbow on the thigh here and just coming to a slightly higher lunge here, a nice boxy squat. So if you're in this side twist, then just reaching up with the left arm and taking one more breath. And then from here, we're going to place the hands on the floor, coming into our half monkey lizard stretches. So we're going to bring the hands to a tented position again, and then just start to shift back, flexing through that right heel, extending through the hamstring. And then tilting the body forward, so rocking into that front foot, stretching through the thigh here. Now again, this is maybe too much if you've got pelvic girdle issues, so just staying in that half monkey pose. We're just going to come into 3 rocks back and forward here. So this is a really good one for sciatica. We talk about that in our yoga module on the course, so we've got a whole module on, a whole class on sciatica within the yoga module. So if you're suffering from that or pelvic girdle pain, then do check that out. Last one here. And then pushing down into that front foot. And then we're going to take that, tuck that toe under, shift that knee half an inch forward so that as you come up, you're in a more box-like shape with your knee. So you're not in this deep, deep lunge. And take an inhale, right hand to hip, left hand reaches up, and we're just going to rock over. So stretching through the left side ribs here, reaching over to the right side. Breathing deeply here. And for 2. And 1. And exhaling. And then dropping the left hand down towards the floor. So from this boxy squat, maybe you need to push down with your right hand. If you're not able to, if you're able to, then just wiggling the right foot to the back of the mat, swing the left shin out. So you're going to come into this supported side plank here, lifting the arm up overhead, maybe drawing it to the front of the mat. So you're in this diagonal line between the fingertips and the back heel. If you'd like to lift that right foot off the floor for an extra challenge, again, as always, just listening to what works for your body. One more breath here. Really nice. Placing the hand down on the floor, right knee joins the left knee. You're going to tuck the toes, coming back up into your downward facing dog. Remember, bending the knees really strongly, so you're shifting the weight right back, rather than coming into this sort of slight half plank here. You're kind of shifting the weight really far back here, so that you've got this diagonal line between the wrists and the shoulders. And this time, left leg kicks up. Stepping the left foot behind the left wrist and dropping the right knee down towards the mat. Bring that block or book over to the left side of your mat now. And coming into your lunge, your low lunge twist here. So pressing into that block or book or cushion, and then just rotating around to the right side, lifting up with the hand, finding opening and stretch here. And taking 2 more breaths. And taking 1 last deep breath in. And bringing the hand back down to the floor. Move that block out the way. And then just wiggle the fingertips back to a point that feels stable and comfortable for you. So left heel flexes up this time. So you're coming into this half monkey. Those of you with pelvic girdle pain, just staying here. If you want to join in, coming into these flossing movements, we're going to sink down into a variation of lizard. And then sweeping back into your half monkey, shifting back, heel, bum back towards the heel. Taking 2 more here, so just rocking forward, finding that stretch. And then hooking the bum back towards that heel. Last one here, shifting forward, opening through the chest as you inhale. And then exhaling, tilting back, flexing through the heel. So you've really got a straight leg here on that front leg. Coming back down in towards your low lunge, tuck the back toes under and just shift that knee forward half an inch or so. So you come up, as you do so, push into your thigh maybe to get there, and you've got that box shape. So the ankle is directly underneath the knee on both, and the knee is directly under the hip on the back leg. Left hand to hip, reach up with the right arm, and then stretch and rotate over towards the left side. So we're coming into that nice open side twist, side stretch, sorry, with the other side. And pushing into the front foot, inhaling, exhaling. And taking 2 more. Inhale, exhale. And 1 last breath. Really nice. And then from here, you're going to place the right hand on the floor, shift that right shin to the side as a kickstand for yourself, and then either place the left hand on the floor to give you a bit more support. You're able to sliding that left leg back to the back of the mat. So you're coming into your modified half plank. So your shoulder is over your wrist here. And then you're just going to bring that left arm overhead if that feels okay to do so. Again, listening to your body, rotate your body towards the side. And then maybe lifting that top leg off the floor. See how that feels. See where your balance is today. Feel where the strength comes. And again, finding that acceptance of where you are today and not pushing more than you need to. Really nice. And then coming back down into your tabletop. And we're going to tuck our toes, coming back into your downward facing dog. So shifting bum to heels. And then drawing up through the hips, finding your downward facing dog. And just take a breath here. And walking the hands now back to the back of the mat. So bend the knees as much as you need to get yourself there. Maybe heel toe the feet out a little bit wider here so that you've got a little bit more stability and support. And then you're just going to lean forward here into your forward fold, hugging opposite elbows and allowing your head to drop. Find a softness in the neck. Maybe swing a little from side to side. And releasing the arms, and we're just going to roll up one vertebra at a time, coming up to standing. And coming into Tadasana, head comes up large, shoulders draw down the back. I'm just going to stand facing you, so just stay where you are at the back of the mat for now. So toes lift off, heels ground down, engage through the thighs, palms face open towards the front. And then shoulders draw up at the ears and then down the back, so you've got a lovely space and opening between the ears and the shoulders. So this portion of the class is a little bit more strenuous, so for any time you feel that you need to, just pause coming into a child's pose where you're kneeling. I'll just show you briefly because I don't think we've done child's pose, so toes touch, knees come wide, and then just stretching the hands out in front of you. So just coming into that if you need to. Otherwise, we're just going to take a big inhale, stretch up above the head. Exhale, bend the knees and soften down towards the floor. Inhale, halfway lift, bring the hands to the shin and lengthen the body forward. Exhaling, bringing the hands to the floor and walking the hands to the front of the mat. And dropping the knees down, we're going to come into a baby push-up. So either you're coming into this push-up, like a bicep push-up, so hips over the knees and you're coming down with the chest. Otherwise, your hands are a little bit further forward. You're coming into a tricep push-up, so shifting the chest towards the hands and then drawing the chest down. Whichever version you're going to take now, so exhaling, dropping down, inhaling, pushing back up. Walking the hands to the back of the mat, pushing the hands into the floor and lifting up through the chest, opening up. Exhaling, bum to heels. Walking the hands to the front of the mat, pushing into the hands, back into your downward facing dog as you tuck the toes and lifting up. From here, we're going to lift that right leg up towards the sky. You can lift it a little higher here, but make sure that you're listening to your body into your hips. And taking the right foot, and you're going to place it behind the right wrist. Now, you may need to support yourself to get yourself there. That's absolutely fine. Inhaling, pushing into the front and the back of the foot equally, engaging the pelvic floor as you exhale, push up, maybe push into the thigh to get you there. Take a big inhale, sweep the arms up, and then you're just going to drop down into this low, high lunge. So pumping up through the chest, imagine yourself holding a big beach ball. Now concentrate on the shoulders. Are they drawing down the back, or is there hunching here in the ears? Take another inhale, and exhaling. From here, placing the left foot on the floor, so you're coming into a warrior one position, so the back foot is at a 45-degree angle and the heel is on the floor. And take an inhale and draw the arms behind you and interlace the fingers. Sink down into this warrior one position. Open through the chest. So we're drawing the fist down towards the back leg here to create an opening through the chest, encouraging the chest to shine forward. Push into the outside edge of that back foot so that you've got a nice grounded, strong back leg. Take one more breath here. And exhaling out, really nice. Releasing the grip on the hand, bring the hands to the hips for a moment. Shift that back leg in so that the stance is a lot shorter here. So we're talking about 1.5 or 2. Bring the legs nice and wide. Back foot is still at 45 degrees and front foot points forward. You have options with the arms here. So option 1 is hands to hips. Option 2 is holding opposite elbows behind your back here so that you're cradling the arms. Option 3 is taking a big sweep and creating a backwards facing prayer. So you want to draw the hands together, so the heels of the hands draw together, fingertips drawing, you're drawing the arms. So this is a really strong one into the shoulders. And again, you may find a little bit less balance and stability here if you're heavily pregnant, or even if you're not. So just going with what feels right for you. Taking an inhale, lengthen the body forward, and then exhaling, tilting down, just coming into this forward fold. Come halfway and lengthen through the body. Guide that right hip back, left hip forward. There's a tendency here for that left hip to flail out. And then maybe come a little bit further down towards the floor, depending on what works for you. Taking one more breath. Exhaling, softening down. And then releasing whatever grip you have, placing the hands to the floor, stepping that left foot back, left knee melts down to the floor, right knee joins it, and you're going to come into your vinyasa. So it's shifting yourself into your version of push-up. Walking yourself to the back of the mat and fingertips point towards the toes. Lifting up as you push into your hands and dome up through the belly. Exhaling, bum comes down towards the heels. Walking the hands back to the front of the mat and pushing into the fingertips. You're going to tuck into your toes and lift yourself back into your downward facing dog. Left leg kicks up this time. Remember, just listening to where your body's at, how high you kick it. Step the left foot forward so it steps behind the left wrist. We're going to come into your high lunge on the opposite side now. So setting yourself up by engaging through the pelvic floor and pushing into the front foot. Lifting up, coming into your high lunge. As you inhale, sink down a little bit further and then lifting the arms up. Imagining you're cradling that big globe above your head. Opening and puffing through the chest. Exhaling, sinking down. We're going to take 2 more breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. And taking one more. Really nice. Releasing the hands down, placing the back foot again down towards the floor. So the right heel is pressing into the mat and the back foot is at 45 degrees. Give yourself enough space here, as much as you need for your hips and your baby. Take an inhale, bring the arms out to the side, and then find the interlace in the opposite direction, the way that feels slightly odd. Inhaling, puff up, put through the chest, and exhale, sink down a little further into that front knee. Push into the back leg and draw the fist down towards that back heel. So you're drawing the hands and at the same time keeping the chest lengthening forward towards the front knee. And taking one more breath. Really nice. Releasing the grip on the hands, place the hands on the hips and step yourself forward into this shorter stance. So we're coming into Parsvottanasana, so pyramid pose here. So bring yourself into the arm position that feels right for you. So either hands to hips, cradling arms, or backward prayer. And draw the chest high as you inhale, and then exhale, start to tilt forward towards the front of the mat. Checking in with the hips, so drawing that left hip back, right hip forward this time. Lengthen as you inhale, and then exhale, maybe sink down a little bit further. So trying to create a nice straight back here. So rather than curling in, we're trying to create length through the body as we come down. So it doesn't really matter if you don't come super far here. It's just a point of finding length in the spine as you inhale and then exhaling, softening down. One more breath. And exhaling, releasing. Really nice. And placing the hands to the floor. Then dropping the right knee and dropping the left knee. Coming into your vinyasa variation, so hands spread nice and wide on the mat, shifting yourself into your push-up variation, and then walking the hands to the back of the mat. Fingertips point towards your toes as you puff into the chest and lift up. Exhaling, sinking down. And then walking the hands to the front of the mat one more time, tucking the toes here, and lifting yourself back up into your downward facing dog. From here, we're going to walk the hands to the back of the mat again, bend through the knees as much as you need to get there. And then from here, we're going to come into a chair pose. So you're going to sink your bum back towards your heels, bring your hands towards your hips, and then start to shift your body up towards your chair. Create a nice bend in the knees here and start to shift your weight back into your back heels. Open through the chest, sink down a little bit more. Maybe releasing the hands here. So your feet are hip width apart here and toes are pointing forwards. Shoulders draw down away from the ears. Reach with the fingertips. I know it burns, but it's just a sensation. Just accept it for what it is, a burning of the muscles, not doing you any harm. It's good and it's strengthening. One more breath. Really nice. Releasing out. Give the legs a little wiggle and a shake. We're just going to do a couple more strengthening exercises for the legs here. So staying at the back of your mat for now, we're going to shift the weight into the right foot. So start to shift the weight into the right foot, maybe bend a little in that right leg so that you've got a little bit more stability and support here. Lift the left knee off the floor and you're drawing it towards the chest. Hands are on your hips. And then we're just going to step that foot out to the side, so tapping it out, so barely touching the mat. And then with control, draw it back to the chest. Take another 3 here, tapping out to the side, and then drawing in towards the chest. Really good. And 2 more here. Moving with your breath with nice control. Last one. And breathing out, tapping out. Inhaling, drawing in. Now, if you can, without putting your foot down to the floor, crossing the ankle over the knee, and you're just going to start to sit down as much as your body allows you to. So this will be different for everybody. So listen to where your body's at. We're coming into standing pigeon, flexing through the heel, maybe keeping the hands on the hips. Maybe you'd like to draw the hands to prayer in the center of the chest if your balance is okay. Connect with the breath to help you with your balance here. So finding a softening, a focusing in on the breath. Maybe drop down a little further here. So seeing where your body's at. Lift up through the chest, so avoid head planting forward. And then starting to push into that supporting knee. It's a really strong one here. Really good work. Releasing the legs and giving them a nice wiggle and a shake. Amazing. We're going to shift to the other side now. So shifting into that left knee now. So bend and soften and create support there. Find that drishti, that point of focus that's going to help you to maintain your balance. Once again, connecting with the breath as we start to lift that right leg up. So drawing the knee towards the chest, soften into that supporting leg. As you exhale, tapping out to the side. Inhale, lifting up towards the chest. Exhaling, tapping out. Inhaling, control as you draw back in. Taking 2 more here. Moving with the breath. Taking one last one now. And lifting back up towards the chest, crossing that ankle over the knee, flexing through that foot, and then bringing the hands to the hips, or just keeping them here, or perhaps you'd like to draw the hands towards prayer, towards the center of the chest. Move with what works for you, remembering one side may be different to the other. Start to sink down a little bit more, so coming down into this little squat here. This is really good stretch for the IT bands around the outside of the hips into the thigh. Take another inhale here. Really nice. And then pushing into that foot with control if you're able to, releasing the legs. Give your legs a really good wiggle and shake. Well done, well done. So coming, if you're not already at the back of the mat, we're going to take a big inhale, sweeping the arms up. And then exhaling, softening all the way down to the floor. And take an inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale back down. Walk the hands to the front of the mat. And dropping the knees, untuck the toes and shift the weight forward. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, pushing your way to the back of the mat. Fingertips point towards your toes as you lift up and pop up through the chest. Exhaling, releasing back down. And then walking the hands to the front of the mat again. Pushing into the hands one last time here as we tuck the toes, coming into your downward facing dog. Just see if you can pause and hold here for 3 breaths. lifting through the hips, drawing back. If this is too much, coming to child's pose. Again, listening to your body as always. Hugging your baby in towards your spine. Find space between your shoulders and your ears. And then with the next inhale, kick the right leg up towards the sky. If you have pelvic girdle pain, stay in here. Otherwise, maybe opening your hips, so bending the right knee, left heel softens to the mat. And you're going to draw that right knee up towards the sky here, opening through the right hip. One more breath. Really nice. Coming back to center again, kicking through the heel, and then stepping the right knee behind the right wrist. We're going to come into pigeon pose. So we did a variation of this last week. So we came into sleeping pigeon. This week we're just going to come into full pigeon. So you're going to make sure that the right knee is to the right side of the mat and the left ankle is to the left. So you've got this sort of across the whole mat rather than tucking that right knee to the middle of the mat. So you're coming down here and draw the heel as much as you need to towards the groin. So the more you shift the foot forward, the stronger the stretch is. Tuck the left toes and just have a look behind you. Lengthen through that left leg and then soften and support yourself down. Now this is where your cushions or your block might come in handy. So you might want to place this underneath your right hip. You want your hips to be nice and level here. So you just want to create that leveling by placing your block or your cushion wherever you need it. And then starting to walk your way down towards the floor and softening the forehead here. Maybe you're on your forearms, maybe you've got your cushion or your bolster underneath your forearms here to create a little bit more support. So working with the props that you have available to you. And again, you should feel this nice stretch through the IT band on the right side. If there's any pain in your knees at all, then just coming out of that. And taking 3 more deep breaths here. And taking 2 more. One last deep inhale. And exhaling, releasing. Gently finding your way back up. And we're just going to rock over onto the right hip. And bring that left foot out towards the side. Come into a nice side stretch here. So sliding the left forearm down the side of the left shin. Bring the right hand to the hip and create a little opening here. So reaching the right arm over towards the left leg. And avoid the urge to collapse here onto the shin. And create a little space between the hip crease and the side of the body. Taking 2 more breaths. And from here, pushing back up, right hand comes behind the hips. And this time you're going to come up in the similar pose we did at the beginning of class, like that variation of wild thing, pushing up through the hand into the hips, lifting up and stretching through the front of the body, exhaling, releasing back down. And rocking over, I'm just coming into the opposite side now. So coming back either through your downward facing dog if you want to, or otherwise just placing your left leg on the floor. If you're coming through downward dog, then coming into your scorpion dog on the opposite side. So lifting the left leg, bending at the knee and at the ankle, and then opening through the hip. Taking 1 more breath. And then placing the left knee behind the left wrist. Tuck the right toe and stretch that right leg behind you, making sure it's directly behind you, and then untucking the toe. Find your prop, so your block, your cushion, whatever you need, and placing it underneath the bum so that your hips are nice and level here. And then finding whatever you need to support yourself, coming down into your supported pigeon. And taking 5 deep breaths here. For 1. And exhaling for 1. Inhaling for 2. Exhaling for 2. And taking 3 more breaths. Breathing deeply. 2 more here. Any softness in the breath, and more space as you breathe in. One more breath. Really nice. Rocking over onto as you support yourself to come back up to seated. And rocking over to your left hip now. And then stretching the right leg out. So the left heel is towards the groin here. And then you're just going to slide your right forearm into the right shin, flexing through the right heel, and then maybe reaching that left arm overhead, creating space and opening. And breathing into this. Really gentle here, not overly forcing it. And taking 2 more breaths. And one last breath. And gently supporting yourself back up. Bringing the left hand behind you, shifting into the left hip, reaching up, opening up through the chest, reaching with a hand. And then supporting yourself down with control. Really nice. So coming in now to your final pose, Shavasana. So taking whatever props you need, you can, the most straightforward one is to, if you're over 20 weeks, is coming to your left side. So taking both cushions or your bolster and bringing your right knee bent so that it's supporting here and your hips are nice and supported. Maybe bring your blanket underneath your head and then bring your hands to the side. If you're less than 20 weeks and you'd like to lie on your back and that's okay for you, then just coming here, maybe if you've got a rolled towel or a bolster, it might be nice to place it underneath your thighs. And bringing the palms face up, the legs are nice and wide. The final alternative, if you'd like to and you've got the props available, are to stack a couple of blocks or a cushion and then using the bolster at a 45-degree angle. And then just coming to support yourself back here. Either bringing the legs wide or maybe feet together, knees out to the side, whatever feels nice for you. Palms face up again towards the ceiling. So whatever variation you've taken, just taking a moment to get into this. Make sure you're comfy here and just avoiding the urge to fidget, to move. Finding a stillness here. Briefly scanning up from the feet now to the crown of the head. Noticing any final areas of tension in your body. So releasing the jaw as it clenched here. Allowing the eyes to soften. And just taking a few moments here in your Shavasana. And being still. And starting to deepen the breath, creating movement as you do so.
Gently wiggling the fingers and the toes. If you'd like to stay in your Shavasana for a bit longer, then that's absolutely fine. Go ahead and take a few more minutes here, as much as you need. If you're liking to come out of this, then maybe taking a little stretch overhead. If you're on your side with props, moving them away, drawing the knees to the chest in a fetal position. And if you're on your back, gently hugging the knees to the chest as you roll to the left. And as you just pause here for a moment in this fetal position, reconnecting with the intention you set for yourself at the beginning of class. And seeing if you can find a way to hold on to that as you move into your evening, into the rest of your week. Knowing this moment that you've taken to pause and connect with your baby, so beneficial for yourself and for your baby's development. When you're ready to, gently supporting yourself up into a comfortable seated position, your eyes closed. Once you're here, just taking a big inhale, sweeping the arms around above your head, and drawing the hands to the center, thumbs pressed to the center of the chest. And taking the thumbs to the space between the eyebrows, reminding us to bring compassion into our thoughts. And back to the heart, reminding us to be mindful in the way that we love. Namaste. Thanks guys for practicing with me tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do have any questions at all, then do pop them on the YouTube live comment section. We'd love to hear your feedback. We have a Trustpilot, a feedback form, which we'd be really grateful if you filled in. Anything that you'd like to suggest or that you'd like more of, then do pop that feedback there about any part of the course. And don't forget that you've got that 30% discount off our full course, which of course does include a complete yoga module as well as everything else that we have to offer, and that's with Positive Birth. So if you use the code Positive Birth, you get that 30% off. Have a really lovely evening. Don't forget, follow us on YouTube, and if you want more yoga videos, I do some 20 to 30 minute yoga videos on my YouTube channel, which if you search for Yoga Doc, you'll find that. And you can follow me on social media again with more obstetric or pregnancy yoga related content. I'm at yoga_doc. So check me out there. All right, take care and have a lovely evening. Bye.